I'm David Arrow. I'm playing Alan Turing, the British mathematician of which this play is centered around.
And I am Kirsten Brandt, and I am directing the play in which is centered around Alan Turing, who David Arrow is playing.
Well, I think I had actually seen it when I was a young drama student. I saw Derek Jacobi play the role in the West End, and it stayed with me. And then when I saw after seeing the play a few years ago when The Imitation Game came out, which I enjoyed, but it made me remember the play, and remember particularly the differences of the play, the fact that it was much more about the man and personal conflicts rather than the conflicts displayed, as movies often are, more plot-driven, about the enigma code breaking. Our play deals with that, but it deals with it in proportion to Alan's life and in proportion to of what it meant to him, as opposed to what it means to the solving of this. I mean, spoiler alert, the Allies won World War II, so some of that is not, I know, but some of that is not as important as what it meant, the process of solving that meant to him. So that's what reminded me of the play, and then I think I shared it with Julie, and as just several plays that I thought were just kind of interesting and somewhat neglected, but worth reviewing again, especially in light of what we now know. The play was written about 30 years ago, so what we now know about computers, what we know about, we know more about Alan than when the play was written, so that was the things that attracted me. And of course the role is just an amazing, he's a fascinating character, and I grew up in an academic world, so some of this was interesting to me, and as in a way of sort of honoring a part of my own personal history.
For me, Julie gave me the play, said, hey, would you like to read this? And I read it, and I was endlessly fascinated by Alan. It kind of speaks to two things I love about theater. One, discovering something new, and I didn't know really anything about Alan Turing. I had not seen the film, so when I eventually saw the film, I realized how much, I don't want to say better, different the play is in scope.
Richer, too.
Yeah, there's I think when you get to understand who Alan is in his life, that's where it actually really resonated with me. And that's the other thing I love. I love the combination of science. So not that we're learning something, we have to learn something, but it's so fascinating. It's fascinating because everything he's talking about affects us today. He has this beautiful speech in Act 2 that he references the year 2000, and he's right, which is brilliant. But it's also about society, and for me, I like plays that talk about what society has done to people unfairly and unjustly, and how we today have to look at our past in order to make our present livable. And we need to come to terms with what has been done and what has happened in order to make our lives better today. And I think this is one of those instances where we need to look at what we're doing today to certain groups, not just the GLBTs, but the dreamers and everybody, and the practices society's putting into place right now and how that affects humans. And this play is a small sliver of that more global construct, I think. So. Well, I actually don't think I think the internal structure of the play, each scenelet, is very realistic, naturalistic, but the play as a whole is not. It moves in and out of time. It's not linear. We bounce back and forth, so it's almost as if the play couldn't be done in a realistic setting. It really needed to live in a world of the mind, and the mind has interesting non sequiturs, and so when working with Andrea Beckert on what the scenic element could be, we looked at a lot of Alan's work, a lot of the schematic drawings of the bomb, and we looked at the Enigma machine itself, and
The bomb, you should say,
Yes.
it isn't a bomb.
Oh, it's a bomb, yes.
But it's
No.
the machine that Alan and others created at Bletchley
Bletchley,
Park to
thank you.
break the Enigma code.
Yeah, so it's not the
It's
internal
basically an
workings of-
early version of a single-purpose computer.
Yes. And so we looked at those early drawings and came up with this idea that the world exists within Alan's creation, and that the world needed to be flanked by the possibilities. And so when you're looking at blueprints, you're looking at the possibilities of something to be built. And so the set then is the possibility of that. But it also contains the play in a way that allows it to be really Alan's imagination, Alan's ideas, just kind of personified in a manner. So.
You know, I don't know that sets play a huge role in the acting process, because we often rehearse, in a blank room. But what it does is, and then it starts to play a bigger role as we go into tech. And but what it does give us, and what's really almost universally, the set design is presented the first day of rehearsal, and it sort of sets a tone for what the play is going to be, and so from that perspective, it's very helpful. And because of the scenes being there are so many scenes, it's very. Someone else made this allusion to Shakespeare. It has a classical feeling. It has a sort of central role who talks a lot, but also these scenes that revolve, and so in a way, less realism, no doors there.
Right.
Things can happen in fluidity, which serves this play very well.